at this. The man himself. Dan, thanks so much for being here.
You've got a very privileged audience here. There's you know, very, very privileged people here because
you're here and they're watching you?
No, not that. Not just that the room is a little compact, and those who have gotten in are you know, this is a pretty hot ticket here we're looking at. And you're out of the cold anyway here today, and you look bundled up for it. And a good-looking, great-looking group with parkas on and hats and as if they expect to be escorted out at any second, but no, we...
Calls it as he sees it. Dan, you are here talking about Crystal Head, a vodka that you have been a part of for quite some time, right? How long have you been with Crystal Head?
Well, you know, we're going on about 9 years, and the thing is, I kind of wanted to kind of clean up the category. I did a little research into what goes into most lesser priced vodkas and found out that, you know, they add some things in there that if you had the choice of not having them in there as a professional bartender or someone at home just making a drink, you probably wouldn't want them in there. So a lot of alcoholic products have glyceride, right? It's a derivative of lipids. We all have it inside our bodies, but they synthesize that, and glyceride really it's a cousin to glycol. Glycol is a cousin of glyceride, and glycol is antifreeze. They don't put enough in there to hurt you or anything. They do it to kind of mask the alcohol taste and also the smell, and they put in something called limonene, that's a terpene, and they do that to produce a viscosity and again to mask the alcohol taste. Now, we're drinking alcohol, you want to smell it. If you open a lot of lesser priced vodkas, they smell like Chanel No. 10. Mine smells like alcohol because we don't mask it with the oils. There's no sugar, no terpenes, no glyceride at all. It's the world's cleanest vodka, and we won a medal in Moscow, Russia. Out of 400 beverages, excellent taste. So that's like, you know, if the Russians don't know vodka, then the Japanese don't know sushi. So that was really a wonderful accolade for us. And our notes on this particular, the corn, is we have a beautiful notes from Anthony Dias Blue, who's kind of the Robert Parker. You know, Robert Parker's the wine guy. Anthony Dias Blue's the vodka guy. He's got a very sophisticated tongue. And he gave us these notes: sweet, vanilla, dry, crisp, with a kick of heat off the finish. My truck left the highway when I heard that. I mean, as a vodka maker, I'm going, how can I get better notes than that? So.
And when it comes to vodka...
Oh, this is the Aurora. This is a wheat vodka. That's more pepper, anise, and that. But the other one's corn. It's kind of a clearer bottle. We have two of them. But both good products. And the fluid's in the bottle. People are tasting it and loving it. And once they try our vodka, they don't go back to the lesser brands.
When you're talking vodka and you're talking about masking the taste of alcohol, which is a lot of what the lesser priced vodkas do, you actually kind of get a worse taste, though. You talk about that thing that is sort of a cousin of turpentine. I always find with cheaper vodkas or vodkas that really try to mask the alcohol, they do have like a nail polish finish kind of thing.
Yes, they do, because they're adding these what's called fusel oils. In German, fusel means bad liquor, so we don't want to have bad liquor in there. And the other great thing about Crystal Head is we make it in Newfoundland, Canada, and it's, yeah. Oh, you're from the Rock, or do you know the Rock? Ottawa. What high school did you go to?
The PN.
Oh, okay. I went to Pius X.
Oh, nice.
Minor Preparatory Seminary for boys.
Love Canadians.
Yeah.
I just
and
love
but Newfoundland, you know, the people there, if you've ever, they talk with a West Irish lilt, and they're lovely, lovely people, and you walk down St. John's in the street, they're not on the phones, you know, they're holding hands, they're looking at each other, they're not on the iPhone all the time. They're kind of 10 years behind the rest of the world.
Their accents can get a lot thicker than that as well. You're doing sort of a light version.
You can't understand. You got the Gaelic up there when you go to Corner Brook and that.
It's really one of my favorite accents that I've ever heard.
It's beautiful. And the water there is the original glacier, water from the Wisconsin Glacier, as you know, which was over this part of the world and all of the Northeast. 16,000 years ago, there was 800 feet of ice above us. That melted into the rock of Newfoundland, and that aquifer, that glacial water is still there. So that's what we use, the glacial water. The government of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador makes the vodka for us. It's the last state-owned still in the world. So government manufacture, clean, the fluid's in the bottle, and we are kind of a traditional, edgy, non-traditional, edgy brand. Although, you know, you'll find us in high-end steakhouses where bankers are drinking, and you'll find us where bikers are drinking. But we find that your generation, and I'm a little older, what they call the millennial generation, is very hard to sell to the millennials because they'll hear the bullshit. They have very high bullshit detectors, and they like our product because they know we're telling an honest story. Right. We have a beautiful bottle, and we have a pure fluid. I mean, this bottle's so beautiful. How could you put something that was polluted by terpenes and glyceride and sugar and added sugar. You couldn't do it, and that's why it's so clean and why we've kept it that way. And so we're really appealing in a non-traditional sense to the millennials of this generation who, you know, they are very discriminating about products. One thing is very surprising. This generation is not buying automobiles like my generation did. Like when I was 16, I had to have a car right away, you know, had to have the license. Today, it's Uber, it's buses, it's taxis, it's walking. It's not so, you know, it's not so compulsory for someone, an early adolescent or someone in their 20s, early 20s to have a car.
That we're terrified of loans, and we're terrified of the economy taking and us having really bad loans.
You should be
taken
too.
out.
It's disgusting what's happening with student loans. Why there hasn't been some relief here? You know, the government should just go, hey, wipe them all out. Hey, you know, eat them, just eat them up. Fine, everybody. It's just that's it. You know, have complete attrition of all those loans, and then you'd have people in the workforce there that would be able to, you know, put their money back into the economy, and so. My point really is that it's hard to sell to millennials because, you know, they're not buying things like, you know, electric shavers and they're not buying cars and.
I did use an electric shaver this morning. You busted me.
And so when we sell our vodka, we're going out and they're telling an honest story.
It's an interesting thing. I mean, you talk about millennials and how millennials shop, and oftentimes for people give them a bad rap for being too artisanal and too into the sort of how a brand is made. And I think it's a really special thing that a new generation is more focused on the sort of the conscience of a brand as well as the taste, and being able to distinguish between a cheap plastic vodka and a good vodka that is made with a conscience.
You know, that's a big part of the millennial group, is that there's an ethical thing happening there, and they know that our story's honest, and we tell them about we educate all over about our clean fluid, and it's much appreciated, yeah, and they're into the artisanal craft from everything from, you know, candies, butter, beer, wine, all of it. It now speaks of a higher quality for the consumer. You see, it's just not batch vodka made in a bathtub. It's not, you know, it's not a batch beer that they're looking for. They're looking for something that where the artist and the creator has a real voice in the product, and that's certainly what we got here with the vodka.
Yeah, except with drugs, we're still kind of like, yeah, give it to me. No.
Depends what drugs, you know. I mean, I think we're going to see a revolution in the world coming with the refining of CBD, cannabinoids, without the THC. It's just a miracle drug.
Hallucinogens for therapeutic practice as well, which is becoming a big thing.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a while since I've done acid. It was 1977 was the last time. But
is that true? 1977 was the last time?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah,
was that enough for you at the time that you did it?
I have, you know, there's a picture on the old SNL, like of me in a jean jacket with no shirt, and I've got a big smile on my face. It was like the bumper pictures for that day. That night was coming down off. I don't know what it was, Orange Barrel or something, and it was very exciting. I had a big smile because it was a nice experience. Today, I don't think I could do that. I don't, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to lose your ego when you've sort of developed it over the course of 30 years. It's like, how do I put that thing away at this point?
Well, acid would help, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
When did you decide? You know, you have this incredible writing career, this movie career. You've played iconic characters that we all love, and developed iconic movies that we all love. When did this become a part of your life? When did you decide that you wanted to work with alcohol?
Well, again, 9 years ago, I was looking at, you know, I was kind of just wanted to just try different vodkas and see. One product I do like, and I shouldn't mention another name here, and I'm gonna they're not gonna like this, but I like Rika vodka. It's from Iceland, you know, and that was kind of all the vodkas I tasted, that was kind of the one that I thought was kind of tasted clean. I don't know whether they use the oils or not, and I thought, you know, let's just strip the oils out. Let's clean this category up. We came up with this bottle, and we thought, we can't put anything polluted in this bottle. It's so beautiful. It's based on the legend of the Crystal Heads. That was an inspiration in the beginning for us.
So clean.
There were 13 crystal heads around the world in theory. The movie Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skulls talks about them. This is more or less a replica of the Mitchell Hedges skull, the most beautiful of all the skulls. And they were purported, it was purported that they had powers because they were given to the Navajo and the Aztec and the Mayans by the Star Children, who brought them down as crystal balls, as scrying devices for the tribe to see the future and to help them through bad times. In legend, of course, the Aztec could call them as an operator could call it as a symbol of doom. But we like to think that it's more about positive enlightenment, enlightened drinking, enlightened thinking. And we came up with this bottle and the fluid kind of at the same time. As you see that he or she, we call her Joy or Johnny, they have she's got a nice smile, you see. It's not a sad face. It's a nice, happy little face. And it's a replica sort of the Mitchell Hedges skull. Now, there's 8 of the skulls in human possession. 5 of them are missing. There's 2 at the Smithsonian, 1 at the British Museum of Natural History. There's 1 in Mexico City, a mini, that has a cross stuck right in the top of it, and that's a metal post right in the crystal. How do you do that? They would have shattered that. It had to be inserted in some strange way. The Hewlett-Packard engineers, they did a study of the Mitchell Hedges skull, and they said that there was no way that it could have been carved. It had to have been polished over time. There's a bit of a controversy. The woman at the Smithsonian says that they're all fakes, that they were all created in the 1800s by a German lapidary. But it's just where they were found. I mean, one was found in Tibet, one was found in Colorado, one was found in New Mexico. Where they were found around the world kind of gives me pause to think that they were all hoaxes. So it's interesting to kind of take the legend of enlightenment and purity and then build the fluid in there. And also bartenders love it, excuse me just for a second, because it's the only bottle that you can play with like this.
Gave me a heart attack.
You can pick it up and throw it around, you know. There are not many vodkas you can do that. It's kind of Tom Cruise would love it. Wasn't he the greatest in a cocktail? Great.
I've never seen a bartender do that in person because everyone would have been like, could you please just make me my drink?
Yeah.
But it was amazing to watch on film.
Yeah, you see, I love Cruise because, you see, he's a great filmmaker. Also, he does his research. Mm-hmm. He's an athlete, and he was the greatest bartender ever on film because he's an athlete. He does his research. He executes it in his performances. He's got a terrific movie out now called American Made about Barry Seal, the pilot who flew for the CIA. God, what a great aviation film. If you're into airplanes and adventure, terrific movie. I don't know what happened in the theaters with it, but, get it and watch it. It's so entertaining, and Cruise's performance is just right on. You know, he ain't being too goofy. He's being, he's a great actor, and I just really
incredibly entertaining. He's one of the most entertaining actors.
He's a great filmmaker, and I love his work. I always have.
Yeah. In the age of the reboot, talk about your movies just for a minute. In the age of the reboot, where we rebooted Ghostbusters, you have a number of sort of iconic projects that you created and were in: Blues Brothers, Ghostbusters, Coneheads. Is there any chance for
you will be spared when my species overtakes your miserable planet? Huh? Huh? You will be placed on the protected rolls when our ships arrive to conquer this horrible place.
That's my favorite character of all.
Really?
If someone said you can only do one character the rest of your life, that would be Beldar. Absolutely.
Why is that?
Because I feel like an alien. I mean, I'm a Canadian. I'm a resident alien here, and I feel like an alien. You know, I feel like an alien in this world. I just relate to Beldar, always have, you know.
You actually, I correct me if I'm wrong, but have a sort of personal fascination in extraterrestrials and UFOs. Is that true?
I've seen 4.
Right.
I've seen 4. So 2 in a high altitude sighting, and 1 fairly close at the farm a couple of years ago. And then one really, really weird one in Montreal at the 23rd floor of the Queen Elizabeth Hotel. I'm sitting there with some friends, and I see this. It looked like an air mattress, but 100 feet long by 50 feet wide, tipped over with the bulbs on the bottom, and it was moving slowly, you know, and just it stopped, and then it turned, and it went out over the river, and we were going, what's that thing, you know? Look, MUFON, MUFON.com. You want to get on there. There's sightings every week. There's pictures, photographs. People have cameras now. Lord Hill Norton, who was a British Defense Staff executive, said that we're being visited by 23 different species in 23 different kinds of ships. You know, I'm not alone in this. You know, this is, you know, there's aviator, the Lawrence Rockefeller, the great philanthropist. He would watch these things come down and park in front of his house up in Aykroyd here, up the Hudson River, and they would wink at him, and he finally had to say, what are these things? And so he did a study, the Rockefeller report, and he went around basically paid some investigators to go around to sheriffs and law enforcement and pilots and get their stories. And if you want to Google a good one, Fortenberry Nash, Miami Herald, 1947, they saw 8 discs. They were flying a Capital Airlines plane from Miami, and it made the Miami papers. You know, so there's thousands and thousands of people have seen. John Mack was a Harvard psychiatrist who was studying the concept of abductions when he died, and he wrote a book about it called Abduction. And there's a great movie about what he was working on at the end of his life. It's called The Aerial Phenomenon. And there were some school kids in Zambia, and they went out for recess. There were about 40 of them, and 2 orbs landed with creatures, and they came out and interacted with the children. And when they came back into class, they were animated, they were excited, they were disturbed, and the parents and the teachers were, what happened out there? So now they've gone back 20 years later to re-interview these witnesses, and it's really a compelling piece of evidence, quite striking.
Back to the question about reboots. Do you think that there is any chance, since we've had a Ghostbusters reboot, which you had a cameo in, for a Blues Brothers one or a Coneheads one?
Well, I would do the Coneheads again anytime. You know, if Paramount said, wow, there's video sales and ancillary, looks like we made money on that one, let's make another one. Of course, I would work with Lorne Michaels on it, and Bonnie and Terry Turner, who wrote the first one. Unfortunately, my writing partner, Tom Davis, is no longer with us, but his spirit would be there. And I would do a Coneheads movie in a minute, yeah.
Would you pass
maybe for Netflix.
Would you pass the baton of the Blues Brothers characters to new actors?
Yes, I have a script out there. It's kind of out in the ether right now, but it's called Soul Sisters. And basically, Elwood passes the mantle to 2 college students from Pomona, California, who get involved in his radio station in Mississippi. And
have you thought about who would play those parts?
well, of course, I'd love Taylor Swift to play one of them, and Lupita Nyong'o, you know, the beautiful African American. I don't know whether she can sing and move and dance, but you know, but I know we know Taylor Swift can. She can do anything, that lady. So, you know, somebody or a Taylor Swift-like kind of superstar, that would be great. And they have to drive the Bluesmobile, and they fight the Klan, and they fight the Nazis, and there's a big scene at the House of Blues in Chicago. So, you know, we're looking around, maybe see somebody might want to come on board and do that.
I'm going to pull our mixologist on stage in just a second, but I am curious. You are Canadian, and you talk about being Canadian. You have a lot of pride in Canada, which I think is wonderful. But what is it like to have pride in Canada right now while America goes through what America's going through?
Well, we have our divisiveness up there. I must say, you know, Canada is very progressive. It's been a decade and a half, or almost 2 decades, since we've had LGBT rights up there, marriage federally recognized. This is wonderful. We're about to legalize cannabis across the country July 1st for recreational and medical. You know, Pierre Trudeau, the father of the current Prime Minister, initiated something called a Just Society, more equanimity. You know, Canada's a very inspiring place from that point of view. But we have our own divisiveness too. There's a lot of racism up there. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of divisiveness as well. And you know, Canada's not a perfect place. It's certainly, we have less gun crime, but we have it there. We have less of everything, but we have the opioid problem. We got the gun problem. We have the racism. We have the divisiveness. You know, we have extreme right groups and up there that are, you know, looking to undermine the liberal aspects of our society that make it a palatable place to live. But I think it's down to the individual responsibility. Each one of us, everywhere, we got to make the world better. I think the concept of mindfulness, thinking before we speak, having love in our hearts, and kind of spreading that around, and being more considerate of other people, and being more tolerant of those who are different. Canada certainly espouses those values, and I'm proud to export them wherever I go, along with the Canadian-made vodka. And we're drinking a warm in the winter, and you'll meet our mixologist, our star tender, Jane. She works at a club here in Manhattan called the Mother Pearl, and then she's at Cienfuego as well, in a place called Niagara. She's one of the best bartenders, star tenders in the city, and this is a lovely kind of a winter cocktail. Bar chefs love the drink because it's a clean canvas. It's a virgin slate. It's where you would want to pour mixes in, because there's no additives or mixes in there. When you have a mix, it doesn't completely kill the alcohol. You still taste the spirit, and so it handles mixes really well. Bar chefs love it.
Let's bring Jane up here. Come on up here, Jane, and let's give her a round of applause as she steps onto the stage.
Crystal Head. So here, what we're doing here, folks, to all our viewers and everybody, we're solving your Christmas gift-giving problems right now. The Head makes a great gift, no matter to who. You buy it, and you give it to people, and they love it as a gift because it's of the package and also the fluid in the bottle. And we'll be down in Philadelphia at the big Liquor Control Board store, PCLB store down there in Philadelphia on the 15th for a signing. It's online on our World Wide Web, crystalheadvodka.com. If you are living in the area in Philadelphia, come on up. I'll sign a bottle and take a picture with you, and we love those signings. We have a lot of fun. Jane,
Sign a bottle for me today?
I will, yes, indeed.
Goddamn right. All right.
So Jane, what do we have in the first? This is the time of year when we can be festive. We should all drink in moderation, of course, everything in moderation. But this is the kind of drink that you'd want to kind of sit around the fire with. It's cool, it's tangy, it's tart, and what is in the warm in the winter?
Well, the warm in the winter is going to be some fresh lemon juice, a little bit of guava puree. We've got some black pepper and some tiki bitters, which are baking spice. So it's got that really warm, kind of Christmassy flavor you're looking for. Oh yeah, you did good. And some fresh cracked pink peppercorns on top to give it a nice floral note, which you can find some of these notes in this super premium clean vodka. There are these wonderful, like really nice brightness. So that really pulls it all together. It doesn't hide the spirit. It lets it shine.
How did you go about sort of devising this cocktail, or where did you hear about this cocktail?
Well, during making that one, I had the two different to choose from, and I just found that the body in this one is really amazing. You said wheat. It kind of has a little bit of a fuller profile, so it could really stand up with these tiki-esque flavors. And then we give it a little of the Christmassy notes, and that's kind of warm in the winter, so you want to get all cozy but still have a little bit of that maybe on a beach. They have Christmas on the beach.
Christmassy notes, meaning
Australia.
The cinnamon sticks and the peppercorn, right?
Yeah. So nice and bright.
I see some fire here in the form of a candle.
Oh yes.
So how's that going to be utilized?
Well, we have a second drink I'm going to be making here called the Cranberry Crystal Cobbler. So it's a take on a classic cobbler, and we're going to be putting some pineapple in it, some cranberry bitters.
Then we're going to set it on fire.
Well, we're going to set the cinnamon stick on fire, which smells very pleasing. It's just a wonderful toasty aroma, and it's just kind of a fun little party trick if you want to make this at home, kind of show off for your friends.
I'm going to do this at home. Yeah. Me and fire. That's a nice mix.
So,
Crystal Vodka lawsuit coming in a week or two.
Great. So Jane is a professional mixologist, one of the leading in the industry, and as I said, she works at Cienfuego, Mother of Pearl in Niagara. Loves her job, loves working with the old experienced bartenders in the more traditional place, Niagara, but also, as she's expressed to us, likes working with a clean, no additive product. Here we've got the wheat, Also makes a great Bloody Caesar, Bloody Mary, really terrific beverage for that. And then the corn, which is the sweet vanilla, dry, crisp kick of heat off the finish. This is more peppercorn, anise, drier, crisper. Still the fire off the tongue. If you were to drink it just in a cold shot, even though it's cold on ice with lime, you're going to get a little heat there. Because again, we don't use the glyceride, we don't use terpene, and we don't use the added sugar.
Dan, I have to ask, being a Canadian, what do you prefer, the Bloody Mary here in America or the Bloody Caesar?
Well, the Bloody Caesar was invented in Canada, and in fact, May 18th is Bloody Caesar Day in Canada. And
true?
yeah, and we're going to be working with the Mott's Beverage Company, with Clamato, and we're going to be the official vodka for Mott's across Canada for Caesar Day.
That's huge.
And
I don't understand. Caesars are humongous in Canada.
Yeah.
If you don't know.
And, you know, they do great things with it. They put, you know, food in them and stuff. And so we're really happy about that tie-in to, you know, a great tomato exploitation group like Mott's.
Do you wake up in the morning and have a Caesar, or do you like?
Sunday mornings I would, yeah, you know, at brunch. I generally, you know, I generally don't drink till 11:59. And then when
As
that
close
1
to
minute
noon
clicks
as
over,
possible.
the beverage is made, yeah, you know. So here, what have you put in now? Okay.
Yep, I think we've got everything in there. I added some sherry and a little bit of cane syrup, which is a reduction of cane juice, so it retains a little bit of the flavor, where with just like a white bleached sugar, it's super neutral. So it's got a nice little grassy note, the cranberry bitters. I'm going to top it off with pebble ice, or you can use cracked or crushed ice. Since we didn't shake it with any ice, it'll dilute it when we put it in there.
And you put the head in already, yes?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Which
it
did
is.
you use, the corn or the wheat?
We were doing
corn,
corn.
the corn, yeah,
Yes,
okay.
definitely. We wanted, like, we have a really nice dry sherry in here, and we want to keep it nice, light, and bright, because this one is a little bit lighter, more refreshing, a little brighter, and we didn't want to muddy that too much and let it shine. So I'm going to ice this.
All right. Oh. And then we're going to set it on fire.
Well, we're going to set... All right.
Sorry. This one went to my head.
But
Sorry.
you see the care and the craftsmanship that goes into this profession now. It's like we were saying, you know, this generation, it's not just about, you know, orange juice and a shot and a, you know, and a screwdriver. It's about really care. It's about creation. It's about doing something special and doing it in a way that really puts a little, you know, puts a little love into it.
It's odd. When I first moved to New York 10 years ago and I was 22, I loved going to dive bars. And now at like 33, I have a hard time in dive bars now because it doesn't feel relaxing to have a bad drink. It's something, I sit there and I'm like, I'd rather, it's more relaxing to drink something nice.
You work hard, man. You want to
Thank
treat
you.
yourself.
Thank you.
know?
I do.
You do. You know, you're at the end of the week, you want something, you want to treat yourself. And that's what Crystal Head is. Step up, treat yourself. Pay a little more, get something a little better. And it's an affordable luxury, you see.
Beautiful cocktail, Jane. This is incredible looking.
Want to help with the fire now?
No, I'll let you handle it. I don't want to set anybody on fire by accident.
So we've got a little candle here, and we're just going to toast the edge of the cinnamon stick.
Oh. So not so much a flame as much as a toasting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Okay. I'm not going to hide my disappointment there that there's no flames today.
Well, now I know what you like, so next
I mean,
time
I
there'll
was
be more fire.
I was told that there was going to be fire here, so
Maybe I have a parking ticket I could light on fire. I drove down here tonight, you know, from Canada. I drove last night, yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, and there's something in mid-state New York called the Parish Snow Belt. And no matter what the weather is in the winter, it can be clear everywhere else. When you start there at Sandy Creek, New York, and you go through Parish there, it's like driving on a white shag pile carpet, you know. And at one point last night, there was no road. I was making the road, and then finally I saw a plow, and I got in behind it and followed it.
Is that up by like Appalachia, sort of like
It's
just
it's
below?
more like below Watertown, New York.
Okay, yeah.
No tolerance from the troopers there. They don't watch TV and movies. No.
You don't do
I can't do belt. You know, yeah.
I am very happy to meet a law enforcement officer. Please give me a break.
Step out of the car, sir. Put your hands behind your back. No. I think I got.
Can you guys smell the burning cinnamon stick? It smells great, right?
Lovely.
Someone just went, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this one is
What
called
do you want me to do? I'm killing time. What do
cranberry
you want?
cobbler. The cranberry cobbler.
Crystal Cobbler.
Cheers.
To you, sir.
Cheers.
Oh, why
Top of the
Jane, I
season.
wish you had.
Top of the season, everybody. Happy holidays. God, we got a lot
Happy
to be
holidays,
thankful
everybody.
for.
Let's hear it.
We live in the Western world. Come on.
Jane, thank you so much. That is incredible.
You're welcome.
What a
You like it?
wonderful drink.
Looking for?
I am a fan of the Crystal Head Vodka.
Yes.
I don't
as
know
am I.
if I had that much before, but now I really love it, Dan. Thanks for bringing it by.
Well, thank you for affording us the opportunity to provide consumers out there with their Christmas gift suggestions. And we'll see you. Where are we in Philadelphia? Do you know what the name of the store is? Anyway, it's on our website, World Wide Web. That's the president of our company. What, you don't know? World Wide Web, crystalheadvodka.com. On the 15th, come to Philly. I'll be there and give you a nice, warm winter welcome. And thank you, Jane.
Thank
Guys,
you.
let's give a big round of applause for the legendary Dan Aykroyd and our mixologist, Jane. Cheers. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Glorious.
That's
Thank
the
you.
show.